What's up YouTube? Danny Hype here with another Dragon Ball Super TCG video. Today's video is my deck profile of the deck that I took to the CT Hartford regionals, the ARG regionals this past weekend. I ended up playing in the main event. During Swiss I went 6-2, which was good enough for the top 16 top cut, and then I took the exact same deck into the 1K event where we played another, I think, 7 rounds where I went 5-1-1, making it to top cut. In the top cut of that event, the first round I actually had to play against Anthony Hernandez from All About You. We've been talking about battling each other prior to the event, so the fact that we actually got to meet up, the fact that we actually had to play against each other in the top cut was actually pretty exciting. I ended up taking that one down. I beat him in game 1. Game 2, game 1 took so long that game 2 we went to time, and I don't know, weird rulings and whatnot. We ended up drawing that, but it was whatever. But I did win game 1, so woo, you know. So I was able to beat him there, and I made it to the final 4. But overall, it was a really fun weekend. I went down with 9 of my friends. You know, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take down either of the tournaments. Small victories. You know, I did make top cut in both events. Hopefully, that's good enough for you guys. The one who won the main event, I actually did beat him 2-0 during Swiss round, so that's another small plus, I guess. But yeah, sorry I couldn't take it down. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you guys on my performance. This was my first really big scale event for the card game. I know I've won, you guys seen me win a bunch of my little trophies for the shop champions and stuff like that, and you know, yes, those were pretty good accomplishments, but I felt like in order for me to prove myself, I'd have to, you know, do really good in a big scale tournament such as these ARGs where there's 200 and something people. Yeah, so unfortunately I didn't win, but hopefully, you know, making top cut in both events. I think only one other player made it, right? I think I said that, but only one other player made it, but made top cut for both events. But yeah, hopefully I didn't disappoint you guys or let you guys down. And yeah, so I do have a vlog that I'm going to be posting hopefully soonish of my whole adventure, my time, and the breakdown of how I did again and how my teammates went. Because I had a lot of my teammates who did really well. One of my teammates who's actually using the same deck as mine, Matt, give or take a few cards, he ended up going 7-1 in Swiss, so this deck is pretty good. I had a great weekend hanging out with the guys and playing the event, meeting a bunch of other people, other YouTubers, you know, or just other people who've seen my channel who came up to me to say hi, so I had a great time. I got to meet my one friend Jimmy from the States, who I've been playing on Octagon a lot. I think he's starting his own channel too. He's coming out with him and his friends. I think it's called Hermit. Crap, he's gonna hate me for this, but Hermit Crab Gaming. But yeah, he's coming with that soon, so stay tuned for that, you guys. And yeah, so this is the deck profile. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy.
Press start.
Alright guys, so here is the deck. So we got your Cell Leader, bam, he's already awakened. So on his unawakened side, he's actually, so it's, you throw a card under him, and you can kill a 3-dropper under. That effect didn't really come into play too much for me, as not too many people were playing 3 and under threats pretty early against me. But when they did, it did, and something I couldn't deal with, it was pretty useful. His awakened side, which is probably the best awakened side of any leader, I believe, right about now, and it is, you place a card under him, so you can place your dead cards, any bad cards you have, and draw 2 cards. Now, eventually, when those cards start to build up under there, you can throw away 2 cards from under him to kill a card. Now that comes into play huge against some of the meta decks right now, especially Trigon U. But let's start with the card choices. So we got our blue cards, which is 4 Objection. It's honestly, I still think it's one of the best cards in the game. I use it in, it's so hard for me to make decks without Objection, so I always have to play blue, but I think Objection is just too good. You just feel so ahead of your opponent, and if you're not playing Objection, you just feel so behind when your opponent doesn't play Objection. So yeah, Objection, great card. Senzu Bean. So now the reason I had Senzu Bean, so Senzu Bean's a good card. The main reason I had it was because I thought I would see a lot of Gotenks, a lot of red decks, and this would really help. Now, I didn't see a single Gotenks red decks throughout all of the tournament, so yeah, I didn't see any. So basically, I sided these out a lot of my games, maybe not all of them, but at least 2 of them. It's still a good card, but I don't know. It was a whatever in this deck. We have our 4 Whis Coercion, basic best counters in the game. Your boos. Boos are kind of like whatever. If you get them on turn 1, great. If you get it late game, it's kind of like, it's whatever. But yeah, this is boos. It's just a boost. It's a staple blue card. Now, the main question I got about my deck was, why did I play 3 results of training? So if you actually look, so somebody posted a card count of all the top 16 players. I think there's 800 cards, top 16 players, and how many people use this card, how many people use this card. And it's funny enough, results of training, there was only 5 copies used in the top 16. 3 were mine, and 2 were my teammate Matt, who was playing a similar deck to mine. And yeah, I thought that was just really funny to see. But people ask me, why do I play results when you can just play Tien? And it's purely matchup based. So as you can see, I have 1 and 1 in my side deck, which is the bottom there is a side deck. So now why? So a really big matchup in particular, why results is better than Tien, is against the cell chain leaders or the android chain leaders, the ones that they want you to build your hand up early so they can cell chain you right away. Now, if I were to play Tien against them to awaken, because awakening is the biggest part of the game. You can almost auto lose if you don't find an awakening card to help yourself awaken. Like, if I play against an opponent and he can't awaken, they lose 99% of the time. So being able to awaken is pretty crucial. I used to only play 3 results or 4 results. And then I was like, you know what, screw that. Let's just play 6 awakening cards, 3 Tien, 3 results, and then side in whatever I need for more. But having 6 ways to awaken is pretty important in this game. Now, sorry, in particular, so that cell matchup, so you don't want to build your hand, right? And now if I were to Tien on turn 2 or Tien really early, I would, get a bunch of cards, I would awaken, and then boom, cell chain, I lose all my cards. Results, however, helps me get around that, because it helps me keep my hand low in the early games, and I still have it out to awaken eventually when it comes to mid-late game, when I can start fighting the cell, and keeping my hand size at a relatively not appealing level for them to cell chain. If they cell chain, they cell chain. If not, they're not. But if you, let's say you go objection into, objection on turn 2, which is such a big thing, and then turn 4 you play whatever, and then turn 5 you can results with 8 life. I've won games where I still had 8 life because of results. I would awaken, they didn't have their awakening card, I resulted on turn 5, and I just sat there, awakened, cycling my cards because of him, and just slowly chipping away at them until they lost. So yeah, and I stayed at 8 health. So that's why I played results. It's purely matchup based. Like against Vegeta, results is too slow. I'd take all of them out and just play Tien's. Yeah, and Tien actually helps you counteract Vegeta pretty well. So yeah, so it's purely matchup based in that situation. Now, my last blue card, we have Beerus. I swear, won me more than half of my games this weekend. I think people just weren't expecting to see him that much. And the way my deck works, I keep your hand low. And now, what I expected to see, I expected to see a lot of Ginyus, which obviously he doesn't really come into play against Ginyus because it's rare a Ginyu player will ever let a Beerus ever get resolved. But when you're playing against other decks that, like let's say those ramp decks like Goku Blacks or those Beerus decks or Zamasu, when they go objection into a Whis on turn 3, whatever. On those particular turns, they keep their hand size pretty low. Now the way my deck works, actually we'll get back to Beerus. The way my deck works is, let's say they do that particular play where I said objection into Whis. Now if they're the first player turn and they do that, they'll have 2 cards in their hand no matter what. Why? Because Whis doesn't net you back a card. It just nets you a card in your energy. And then on my turn 4, they'll have 2 cards, cell absorption. Bam. Now they're top decking for the rest of the game. Now when they top deck, they draw a card. They have to determine whether they're playing that as an energy or not. If they don't, well then now they're just falling behind in energy. And if they do, well now they have no cards. And that's where Beerus comes into play. Now, so I did that a lot to opponents. When it came to, let's say, my turn 4, I would always tap up. I would tap out. No, so this is my sequence of play. And whenever I got this off, I won. I basically almost auto won against most of the decks. It was just turn 1, let's say I play Boo. Turn 2, I play Objection. Tapping 2, playing a green energy, then playing Brawly. Now I'd tap out on turn. I'd tap out with 3 energy, have a Brawly on the field. Now if they want to kill this Brawly, they have to spend a resource to kill Brawly, which then again will put their card count really low, and then bam, cell absorption. Now, if they didn't kill Brawly, well then, alright, so now my turn comes, boom, I play Bio Brawly, dump 2 cards out of your hand, they go back, play an energy, do whatever, their hand size is really low, especially if they haven't awakened yet, comes back to me, I Results of Training, tap 5, untap 4, awaken, bam, tap out again, Cell Absorption, and at that point they're usually top decking for the rest of the game until I either Beerus them, or if I can't find Beerus, well then let's say I'll double strike them. I never attack them unless it's for the crit or something, or if I can, let's say, double strike them and then Brawly them back down to 0. And I did that to the majority of my opponents, and it worked out pretty well, and it was pretty funny. Whenever I played Cell Absorption, people were like, "What is like?" Some people were like, "What the hell does that do?" You know. And there were turns where I just back to back. I was like, Cell Absorption, Brawly, and they had like a lot of cards. So like, what the hell just happened? There's no cards. And some people say, well, you know, you're not building any, you know, because of Cell Absorption, you're not really building any board presence, right? But then it's like, they're not really building any board presence either, because my cards, like let's say Cell Absorption on my Brawly engine, are meant to deal with their hand size. And like to disrupt their hand, where my, and then my Cell Leader is to kill the board for me, to help me control the board and whatnot. And then when he starts to fall behind, where I can't kill things consistently with him, then that's where these kill cards come into play. And so I only play 6 of them. I don't play any of the Beeruses, but so I have 6 kill cards and him. So while these guys are dealing with their hand, these guys are dealing with their board. And then Gotenks comes in for the finish, Beerus comes in for the finish, and then the Brawly comes in for the finish. And I don't know, it worked out pretty well. Throughout the Swiss, I went 6-2 in the main event. Then I went 5-1-1 in the 1K event. I think I was one of the only. I think there's only one other person to top in both events, top 16 and top 8. And yeah, so I was able to top in both events with this particular deck, and I don't know, it was really fun to play. I suggest you guys try this one out. We have, yeah, so then Beerus. I honestly back-to-back Beerus a lot of people. I had them top decking by turn 4 or 5. They had to determine whether they wanted to play energy or not. And then they got to the point where they stopped playing energy because they're scared of Beerus. But then now I'm sitting at 7-8 energy, and you're sitting at 4 because you're trying to keep your hand. You're trying to keep your hand size. And if you're trying to keep your hand, I'm just like, bam, this, you know. So it's like, especially against decks that don't have an easy way to awaken, you get them, like, this deck just kills them every single time. It's just ridiculous. And then why it beats Ginyu is because, so Ginyu is really good. Actually, Ginyu was really good. I honestly don't think Ginyu's that good anymore. But why Ginyu was good was because, let's say I try, like, it's all about board presence, right? They play something, you try to kill it with your Beerus or something, boom, Cold Bloodlust. Now on their turn, they can kill your Beerus and still have their guy out there. So they eventually start out-resourcing you. They start building a board. You can't build a board because you can't kill their guys. But Cell gets around Cold Bloodlust. Cell Absorption gets around Cold Bloodlust. Now if they want to Cold Bloodlust my Brawly, go for it. Instead of discarding 2, they discard 1 card, which is probably their best card in their deck. So, you know, in some such situations, do I want them to discard 2 of their shitty cards, or do I want them to discard that one good card, which is their Cold Bloodlust, right? So then it's like, if they're using Cold Bloodlust on this, well then sweet, then you're not gonna have Cold Bloodlust for my kill cards or my Gotenks or for my big Brawly and things like that. So whenever they Cold Bloodlust it, I always felt like it was a win. I was like, yeah, you only discarded 1, but it was your Cold Bloodlust. And then when I attack for 20k, you're going to discard. You're going to have to, you know, protect your life for more. So eventually, it just comes down to who can out-resource who, and I slowly just dwindled them down. And I didn't lose to any Ginyu. Actually, I didn't lose to any Ginyu players except for in the top 4 where I lost to Eon Hill from like the Hill Twin Brothers. He was a really good Ginyu player, probably the best Ginyu player I played all weekend. However, I still think I'm favored in that match. I just made game 3. I just made a mistake, and he capitalized on it, and you know, took me to town. But yeah, I just never tap out. You try to never tap out, but I don't know. I just made a pretty big miscalculation, and he totally capitalized and beat me. But for the most part, I feel like I have a big advantage over Ginyu. Just yeah. Good Ginyu players can help that percentage, but it's still pretty hard for them to win. So now we go to and then these are just your basic kill cards for when he can't catch up. I think Gohan kind of underperformed. He's kind of like it was an okay card, but I never needed him. It's like, obviously you don't want to attack your opponents early, but if you do want to attack them, you attack them with crit. But then when it came to late game, him being able to kill something was nice, but his crit was obviously irrelevant. If anything, having the 4-drop Beerus would be better late game. Only reason I don't play the 4-drop Beerus is because I need more green because of the Brawly engine. Like, especially him, he cost me 4 green. If I want to play them in one turn, I have to have at least 3 green out there. So, you know, having more green things to play is as energy helps a lot. So that's why I chose him over Beerus. But yeah, if you don't, these are expensive cards, and if you don't have them, you can easily just substitute Beerus in. Then the side deck came in. The side deck was whatever. I never really used it. The Awakening was for if I were to sell more red decks like the Gotenks to help me kill things that that Kale couldn't, like, or if I couldn't find my Kales, at least there's more ways for me to kill them, like all their tokens and stuff. But I never played any red, so that didn't really matter. This, I just like this card a lot, but it never really came into play because one, I was they were always top decking, or their guys never really had a chance to attack my guys because they were either trying to attack my life or they were just not on the board for too long. Peel-offs were pretty funny. I only put that in. My friend told me to put that in like right. I put that in like right at the end of the tournament, like right before the tournament started. Sorry, and it's kind of like to get rid of people's crit. Like if they attack with Kale, you know, with their crit, and you just like kind of peel off, take away that crit, and take the damage. It's kind of funny, but I think I took away a dual attack from the Mecha Frieza one time, but for the most part, it's whatever. The only card I ever really sided in was Mafuba, which was for Senzu Bean. Now, like, I always took out Senzu Beans if I were to side things in for Mafuba, and Mafuba kind of helps because he kind of buys you a turn if you don't have cards under your cell. Kind of gives you an extra turn to kind of build up the cards under here, and you can deal with it later type deal. Then we have my results in Tien. Again, match up whatever one I wanted more or less of. I would side them in. And then obviously another Kale, another Gohan, but I never needed them. I never sided them in, mainly because I never saw any red. And then the Cell, if you ever get into matchups, actually against Vegeta, Cell's a really good thing because, you know, they always have so many cards in their hand at one point, and if you just dump it down, they have no way to answer it. And I think that's why Vegeta's a good deck, but I think it's not as strong because of the Cell chain leaders and just the Cell leader in general. He really helps deal with that. And yeah, so that is the deck, you guys. So like I said, I went 6-2. My friend Matt, who was playing the same deck, give or take a few cards, he went 7-1 in Swiss. I went 6-2 in Swiss in the main event. We both made top cut. He didn't play in the 1K because he was still playing in the top 8. I took this deck again because I couldn't change it, obviously, because it was like one tournament right after the other. And I took this one. I went 5-1-1. I actually got to play Anthony Hernandez from All About You in top. He was the first round of top 8. He was my first round opponent. I was the 4th seed. He was the 5th seed. I beat him in game 1. Game 2 went to time, and then a bunch of really wonky rulings kind of went whatever. It was kind of a weird game, and then because I won game 1 and we went to time and we drew in game 2, that I ended up winning that, and then going to top 4 that's where I lost to the Ginyu player, which he was the only Ginyu player to ever beat me all weekend. But he was Eon from like I said, from the Hill Twins, their channel. He's just a really good Ginyu player in general. Like, if I was going to lose to Ginyu, it was going to be to him. But other than that, I had a great weekend. I do have my vlog that I'll be posting hopefully soon. I just got to edit and stuff like that. I'm going to go through more breakdown of how my teammates did, because I did go down with nine other friends, and they all did like very well. So I want to give them props and stuff like that too. And I'll do more props than my shout outs to all the cool people that I met at the tournament in my vlog. But for now, this is just the deck profile. Hope you guys like it. If you have any comments or any questions or anything, leave it in the comment section below. If you guys, try this deck at your local tournament, and if you like it, let me know how it goes, because honestly, this is a really good deck. You should definitely try it out. Like I said, I was one of the only players. I think there's one other player to make top cut in both events, and I did it with this exact same deck. And this deck's decent, guys. So just try it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.